打开后备箱. And my Chinese is good.
Our 3 free YouTube channels on EVs and clean tech are funded by our fun-packed test drive-tastic events in Farnborough, London, the Southwest, the North, Melbourne and Sydney, and next up we're in Canada for Everything Electric Vancouver. And new for UK viewers, you can now buy a battery EV and much more at everythingelectric.store. Now, back to the episode.
You know, reviewing cars can sometimes be challenging, and it's not just the early mornings. Sometimes automakers give you fairly humdrum sedans. But when XPENG called me up and said, "Hey Elliot, we've got the new P7. Oh, and by the way, it looks like this," I said, "Colour me interested." They also told me this is packed to the gills with tech. It also looks like this, and it's focused on driving dynamics. But the question remains, can XPENG, a Chinese automaker, really take on the might of the German automakers? Well, there's only one way to find out. My name is Elliot Richards, and this is the XPENG P7. Whoa, 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 stop the intro. Look at this. I'm speechless, and in this setting, it's beautiful. The thing was, I did my first fully charged review about 5 years ago with the XPENG P7, this car's predecessor. And back then they compared it to the Tesla Model 3. It was there for customers to see. Today, not a Tesla in sight. They know this car can stand up by itself without having comparisons to that American automaker. However, this car is iconic. Its predecessor was iconic. Every article that you read about the Chinese invasion of EVs was about this car's predecessor. And XPENG have had a few misses in their time, especially in terms of design, but they've made another icon in this car. But most importantly, before we get on to its look, and we talk about its AI brain, which is slightly terrifying, I want to talk about what this car is really all about. For the first time ever, a Chinese manufacturer has focused on a mass market car that knows how to drive. Oh yes. The car has what it defines as mid-electric drive. Now, I first imagined the electric motor would be in the middle, but oh no. The front and rear electric motors, delivering 595 PS, are actually mounted slightly inwards a little bit, towards the middle of the car, which basically gives the car perfect 50-50 weight distribution, which means it should be very exciting to drive on the mountain twisty roads. But this is clearly a real step in the right direction. So for example, on the highway, I can put it into individual or comfort mode using this dial down here. And thanks to the dual chamber air suspension, it makes it super smooth, but gives you enough feedback from the road that it's not a dead experience. But then if you're in the twisty mountains like we are heading into now, I put it into sports mode and everything just tightens up, making it really feel like very much a sports car. But the fact is, you can't hide from physics and gravity, and you do still feel the limits of its ability. That weight you can't fully hold back forever. And it does come through. If you really push it too hard in the corners, you will notice it scrabbling around slightly. One of the outstanding features of the new P7 is clearly its battery, and that's for a multitude of reasons. Because first of all, it's super slim, just 109 millimeters thick, so it means the whole profile of the body can be a lot narrower, therefore a lot more aerodynamic, therefore giving you even more range. Not only that, there's two flavors of battery in this. There's a 74.9 kilowatt hour LFP battery, and this car here is a 92.2 kilowatt hour NMC battery. Now that gives you around 820 kilometers of Chinese cycle range, but in real life that's probably around 600 kilometers of actual real world range. It's a 5C battery. What does that mean? Super fast charging. It adds 1 kilometer every second when you charge it, so you can add around 500 kilometers of range in about 15 minutes on the right charger. So then, it's got all of that amazing battery tech underneath. What else does the car offer? One thing I do have to compliment is the brakes. This has Brembo 4-piston calipers on the front, and it has amazing stopping power. So not only does it have that very rapid 0 to 60 time, and when you put your foot down in sports mode, which we're in now, and you hear that roar behind your head, you know you've got the stopping power behind you. Now, really pushing it on the mountain roads, I don't think we're going to quite get to test that today, but you do feel that the car has so much potential. I would love to take this on a track and see what it really can do. XPENG have brought out a extremely competent driver's electric car for the drivers. Now, the press release did say it ensures stability without tail flicking, which I thought was quite funny, because if this is going up against the likes of the BMW M5 or Porsche Taycan or anything, one of those super sporty German saloons, then sometimes a little bit of tail flicking, not on public roads, would be wanted. And I think XPENG are almost missing a trick here. They need something like a P7X, where they can have a slightly leery version, like the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, where it can flick the tail out on closed racecourses, of course, but to give it that real excitement and kind of show off to everyone else about the capability of this car. I can feel it's got that potential right there. But in terms of some of that driving experience, this does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. So it's not screamingly quick. I mean, still less than 4 seconds, which is better than most Ferraris of the 1990s and early 2000s. But 3.7 seconds, it's rapid off the line. And you really feel that speed when you accelerate and you put your foot down. 695 Newton meters of torque kicking you in the back, thanks to 437 kilowatts of peak power from the electric motors. This really does pack a punch, and I think it's just so refreshing. This car is so refreshing. I'm delighted. What I'm most delighted by, though, is how XPENG, it still has the nannying technology. The tech is still there. They throw so much tech at you at these kind of press days. So I don't actually think XPENG has had many design successes since the original XPENG P7 about 5 years ago. But with this, they really captured that iconic spirit. And there's a few design elements in here which I think make it stand out, especially against its German rivals. First of all, this A-pillar, this screen, rakish screen here, really reminds me of a Nissan GTR. Over the back here, it really reminds me of that new controversial Jaguar concept, cut down and the C-pillar going to the back there. Now, there's a few other elements in here which I think hide the fact that this car is around about 5 meters long, just over 5 meters long. But they managed to hunker it down and squidge it all in, so it actually only has a drag coefficient of 0.201 CD. It's around the same as the Lucid Air or the Hyundai Ioniq 6. I have to say that XPENG's design team have definitely become a lot more refined over the last few years. This is a very restrained design, and it has to be. If it's going for global markets, they can't go brash over the top that perhaps they might have done in the past. There's a few quite cool features here. This is not a sticky out logo, it's not a badge, it's actually a light on the inside which can light up. Down here, these flaps, that's active aero. Again, this is all about those driving dynamics, but also about efficiency. This car actually has an efficiency rating of 12 kilowatt hours battery usage per 100 kilometers. That's up with the rest of them. I think that's very good, and that's thanks to its super slippery body. No big LiDAR units anymore. XPENG are now using radar, and of course, nothing sticking out of the roof either. Now, XPENG's previous wheel designs, especially on my G3, yes, 5 years ago, was fairly horrendous, to be honest. They've upped it now, and these look very futuristic, like they've been beamed down from space, but these are actually one of the first aluminium alloy forged rims on a mass market car, so I've been told. But they look fantastic, they really suit the futuristic look of this car. Down here, there's a lot of Citroen-esque kind of design, especially with these rear lights back here. I think the car looks better for it. Again, really matches the rest of the futuristic design. Most importantly is this rear aero spoiler, active aero. Fairly pointless, let's be honest. It gives something like 900 newtons of torque, 900 newtons of force, downforce at 230 kilometers an hour. Both pointless figures that you're never going to try out on this car, but it has it, and it moves up and down. Most importantly, what it really hides is behind here. A fairly gargantuan boot of 575 litres. If you fold down the back seats, it gets to over 1,900 litres of space, and it's a hatchback. What's not to love about a hatchback? Really proper space, that. One of the neatest features of the P7 is voice control from outside the car. Anywhere around this car, I can ask the car to do something for me. So, for example, let's go over here. 你好，小P。
请吩咐。
打开后备箱。
后备箱正在打开。
And my Chinese was good. Let's try it over here. 你好，小P。
请吩咐。
关后备箱。
后备箱正在关闭。
Now that's actually a really useful feature. You're coming back to your car with your shopping, you know, you're lumbering along like this, your keys are in your pocket, no one's there to help you, you just shout at your car. Just shout commands at it. I think it's brilliant.
再见。
Bye-bye. Now, if we have to talk about some of that tech, of course, XPENG have been in the game a long time. They have their driving assistance technology, which has been around, I think, for one of the longest. Huge amount of money and resources been put towards that system. And we're really seeing the fruits of their labour after so many years. And the self-driving system in this is obviously pretty much close to top of the game, but it's some of the other features in here that I think really stand out. This heads-up display is probably one of the best I've seen. So it's got augmented reality. So it's showing me on the road in front of me, a green line to show me where exactly to point the car. I haven't really seen anything like that of late, so I think that's a really absolutely outstanding feature, especially great for cities. Country roads like this, not so good. And then I've also got my map, I've got how much range I've got left and what mode I'm in. I've got all of the information I need right in front of my eyes. I don't even need this small screen here, it almost becomes unnecessary. Actually, to be frank, there isn't that much outstanding on the interior. It's a refinement of what XPENG have been doing in the past. There's nothing outstanding, but I think that's a good thing. I think Chinese consumers especially are tiring of gimmicks and throwing in things that people don't really need into an interior. So a refinement on a design that really works well already is exactly what this car needs. Now, of course, it does have some very nice features. This steering wheel reminds me of Xiaomi. It's got these two dials down here, that's very Xiaomi, one for your mode, one for your self-driving. I've got a small screen in front of me here, again, reminds me of Xiaomi. It doesn't really show me that much, it shows me my drive mode and it shows me what I'm listening to on the radio. But most importantly, I've got a screen that swivels. So if I'm talking to the screen, 你好，小P, the screen will swivel into my position. If my passenger's speaking, it will pivot over there. Again, these really smart refinements, which people actually want. Sorry, Xiaopi. Bye-bye. Now I've got all of the usual refinements that you expect from one of these premium electric cars in China. Air-conditioned seats, kind of leather material, metal around the outside, small buttons to open the door. It kind of holds up against the rivals without shouting about anything in particular. Yes, it has 23 speakers on the interior. Yes, they sound amazing. Yes, the screen's really good. Yes, the UX is really strong in this. You know, 5 or 6 years of refinement has meant that these things are just really good. Some of their rivals still can't even get this right. So don't think of this interior as something which really pushes boundaries like the exterior does. It's very much, it's just a step in the right direction. Again, the interior rear is much the same story. Yes, there's a small 8-inch screen there. I've got a couple of chargers down there, but pretty much it's a small evolution on previous designs. There isn't that much difference in here. Now, the XPENG P7 comes in 3 interior colours for launch. One of them is white, one of them is kind of a bluey grey, and one of them is black. We've got the white one here today. There's no fridge in here. The fridge is at the front where you can cool down your drinks. But here I've got a couple of cup holders, and that's about it. Seat comfort is good. It's not outstanding. I could do with a bit more support down here. And I've got plenty of headroom above me, thanks to this absolute gargantuan glass screen. Again, helping with that feeling of space in here. You can easily fit 3 grown adults into the back here, and you still got that 575 litres of boot space behind you. Again, great. No gimmicks. Now, at the time of shooting this, we don't actually know the price. All they've said is it will be under 500,000 RMB. That's around 70,000 US dollars. Realistically, it will be nowhere near that. Maybe for the top of the range one, but I think it will probably start around 250,000 RMB, there or thereabouts, about 35,000 US dollars. Now, the thing about XPENG is they're one of the automakers who are really expanding overseas in a very big way, especially in the last 18 months. And they're very much more tech focused than, say, BYD, who are much more about high volume, but really good all-rounder cars. XPENG have always been about tech. So if they can get into those markets before the likes of Huawei, before the likes of Xiaomi, with tech-focused cars like this, which drive really well, then they will be on to a winner. So what is this then? Well, this is really XPENG's difficult second album. Always very difficult to get right the second time, and they've definitely had some misses in the years in between, but they've absolutely nailed the formula with this one. A tech full-filled car, which is really good at driving. For me, that's the perfect combination. They've been able to do it, and I think, even though we don't know the price just yet, they're going to be able to get it at a fantastic price point that unlocks it for almost anybody. This might be one of my new favourite electric cars. Big words.
Now visit electricvehicles.expert, where you can follow everything electric and keep current with Clean Technica, The Driven, Electrek, and many more.